here's what we know. We're looking at Turkey. The question is, will Turkey really take the plunge and become a kamikaze puppet of NATO? You'll recall for the last several years, I've been warning about the methods of Zbigniew Brzezinski and his faction. These are not the same crude, stupid methods as the doctrinaire, linear neocons. Brzezinski is an expert in buck passing, playing one enemy against another in order to destroy both, or playing one ally against another, or one ally against one enemy, ally against ally, ally against enemy, enemy against enemy. It's all the same for Brzezinski. The idea is to lay waste to the globe, since this is the only way in which U.S. Imperialism can hope to survive in the form that he imagines. The United States could do quite well, but without people like him. So right now it's Turkey. It's clear that Turkey has gone through a kind of a transformation. They were opposing the NATO attack on Libya up until some point in April, May, but they then came on board. And it looks to me like somebody in the Foreign Office in particular is playing on the ambition and the vanity of the Turks. We have this interesting press conference by Davutoglu, who is in himself an intelligent person, but I think he has now drunk the heady brew of megalomania. Who doesn't want to be a world power? Well, watch out. This is a dangerous game. The British promised to make you great. They promised this to the Russians and the French in World War I, and the results were hecatombs and destruction for those countries and basically other British allies across their wrecks strew the course of the history of the last 200 years. We have a report through KOPP, the publishing house. You can see some of my commentaries from the past week on there in German, and I ask you to pay attention to those if you can. But right now, the word from KOP, from one of their sources, is that the Turks are in touch with the NATO command, and in particular, Turkey is in touch with Germany, France, Great Britain, and Italy. They have communicated now. They seem to have had two conferences in the past several weeks about a coming Turkish attack on Syria. This is now the grave danger. This would take everything to a qualitatively new level. It would exacerbate the world crisis by one or more orders of magnitude. A fall offensive, and of course fall begins in less than a month. So given the Mediterranean pattern of winter rains, they'd be well advised to get this going in September, October. Otherwise, they're going to be bogged down in a lot of mud. So there's a time pressure on this stuff, right? Campaigning weather is now, and rain is coming by November. I think most parts of the Mediterranean, that's when the rains begin, the fogs begin, and by December you may be socked in. And that, of course, bears on the air aspect. Part of this has to do with the fact that the world financial bubble crashing down has hurt a lot of these emerging market bubble economies, and Turkey had a bubble economy going. We've now got very high levels of economic dissatisfaction, youth unemployment, and related issues. So now the big question is, will Turkey really do what they seem to be preparing to do, to become a kamikaze puppet? This will be the end of all dreams of a renewal of Turkish greatness. It will mean that they will go into the meat grinder as cannon fodder, a continental dagger for the Anglo-Americans, a Eurasian or Southwest Asian dagger for the Anglo-Americans to be used against Syria, against Hezbollah, and against Iran. And this is very, very grave. Will Russia remain indifferent to these events? They've been pretty inert so far. They could have stopped this UN resolution. They didn't do so. A grave, grave strategic error, to put it mildly. But now we see the Russian naval station, refueling station at least, at Tartus in danger. It's not a big base, but it's all they have. Will they draw some kind of a line? Now, drawing a line doesn't necessarily mean armed action, hopefully not, but timely action with economic means and deterrent means. We noticed that the Libyans are suing Russia for their failure to deliver the surface-to-air missiles, which the Libyans had ordered and paid for, which would have made all the difference here. Has Syria been equipped with such missiles? We're talking now about the need for deterrence, the need for a rough equilibrium in order to preserve the peace of the world, or to try to begin to restore it, since it's already severely undermined. We are told now that Turkey is harboring the Muslim Brotherhood opposition of Syria. Turkey is providing a base for these subversion operatives that have been attacking Syria. Everybody now admits that everyone now admits that the Syrian events are heavily larded with death squads, death commandos, terror teams of the Muslim Brotherhood. And we're told now, a couple of reports just from this morning, that when you had a group of pro-democracy people in the public square of some Syrian city, the Muslim Brotherhood death squads would get behind them, and they'd start shooting over their heads into the police, so that the responding volleys from the police would go into the crowds. In other words, agent provocateur of the Muslim Brotherhood, of the Ikhwan, and attempting to bring down the Assad regime. This is the mechanism. It's not a peaceful rebellion. This is a destabilization. This is bloody and murderous from the very beginning. Who killed 110 Syrian security people, plainclothes cops or secret policemen in one of those northern cities? What you think you know about Syria comes from Gay Girl in Damascus. You don't know anything. Russia has, to its credit, blocked economic sanctions against Syria, additional ones, in the UN Security Council. But I think that the British in particular, who are past masters of profiling, they're playing on that ambition and that vanity, that idea of pan-Turkish ambition going all the way to Xinjiang province and the gates of China. All of this will turn to dust and ashes if Turkey commits this fatal blunder of attacking Syria. They must back off. They will then be faced by Hezbollah, Iran, probably Iraq, and who knows what else. This is now the grave danger.